Hey, welcome back to the channel, everyone. And today we're going to do our second Severance video. And in this video, I am going to show you why Kier is actually somewhere in Michigan. We know that the PE is not a real state. We don't know where that is, but you'll see the show is actually set in Michigan, and I'll show you that right now coming up. Stick around. Welcome back and thanks for joining us. And let's start off why Kier and the TV show Severance is set in Michigan. First, the most obvious one that everyone's been talking about for weeks is the Kier Bathe in My Waters painting. And when you first see it, you think, oh, there's some lakes down there he's looking at. It's also a famous painting, real famous painting that's sort of been swapped. But the main thing is, when you look at it, it's clearly a distorted view of the Great Lakes. You'll see Superior at the top, Huron in the middle, Erie and Ontario on the bottom, and Michigan to the far left. And if you're not familiar with the state of Michigan, its two biggest cities are Grand Rapids on the west side of the state's lower peninsula, and Detroit, which is in the lower eastern portion of the state. And those are important to remember going forward. And the reason is because we were introduced to these new employees, one who came from international office, and the two others who came from a local office where they had been laid off. And if you remember, most people caught in the scene coming up where he says, I gave up a lease in Grand Rapids for this.
This is unheard of. I'm sorry, Mr. 3 days of work. I broke a fucking lease in Grand Rapids.
Now, why Grand Rapids is important to Severance is that it's home to a number of corporations. One of them being maybe the biggest cult corporation of all time, the people who developed multi-level marketing, yes, Amway, whose building looks an awful lot like the outside of the Lumen building. But Grand Rapids, more importantly, is also home to three of the biggest office furniture companies in the world: Herman Miller, Hayworth, and Steelcase. Now look at the logos for Hayworth and Herman Miller, and you'll notice that the Lumen logo could be a mashup of these two logos, including the Herman Miller little accent. Clearly, Grand Rapids office furniture makers play a role in the Lumen logo, but more importantly is this: the pyramid known as Steelcase Furniture Headquarters in Grand Rapids, which is absolutely the groundwork for the Lumen headquarters. Now, if you look at this picture right here, you'll see an aerial view of the parking lots surrounding the pyramid in what is like a crop circle pattern. And then you look at the picture from the show of the Lumen headquarters that we get, and you can see it's the exact same pattern, the circular pattern around the building. But notice the water tower in the front. Now let's go back to the Steelcase picture from the side. There it is again, the water tower. Absolutely, it's the Steelcase building, mixed with a little bit of the Amway headquarters. Meaning the show creators are definitely going for a office cult vibe, which is what we've known, but it just proves that this is based in Michigan. Now before we move on to Detroit in the show, let's look at some of the interior pictures of the pyramid. Does this look very Lumen to you? Sure does to me. Now, while it's clear that the headquarters of Lumen that they work at are based on Grand Rapids offices, they actually aren't in Grand Rapids, since we know the one employee came and moved to the headquarters. But where is the headquarters? Headquarters is clearly in Detroit, because it's not far from Grand Rapids. And it's far enough that you would have to break a lease. But the scene that made everyone in the Great Lakes stand up and point was the scene where the man walking down the hall is whistling Gordon Lightfoot's The Ballad of the Wreck of Edmund Fitzgerald. And I screwed that up. Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Everyone in Michigan should know that. Now, the importance of that song to Michigan and the Great Lakes is that it really happened. The Edmund Fitzgerald was a real boat. I have a whole nother video all about the Edmund Fitzgerald from like 2 years ago that if you want to check out, go through the videos. But Lake Superior is so cold that the boat is almost completely intact the way it landed on the bottom, along with the people who were on the boat and unfortunately passed away. And when Gordon sings Superior Never Gives Up Her Dead, which is what the guy was whistling, which is that part, they may be referring to bringing people back from the dead that are in cold storage or Cold Harbor. And in Detroit, at the Maritime Sailors Cathedral, as Gordon sings, they do annually on the date that the Edmund Fitzgerald went down, ring a bell in the church. So that's significant importance to the Great Lakes. Now this scene right here, this picture from Irv's funeral, you can see on the back wall behind Helly, it says No Malice Palace. Now this might seem insignificant to other people, but yet again, it's another clue that they are in Detroit, because Malice at the Palace was a fight between the Detroit Pistons and the Indiana Pacers, where the Pacers went into the stands and actually fought with Pistons fans. And there was even a 30-30 about it, and definitely it didn't go unnoticed by people from Detroit and from Michigan. Now what I'm about to show you might be an insignificant scene to other people, but I picked up on it right away. And in this scene, Bert is going to call his contact. And in the background, you just see a bridge. Well, that actually is not just a bridge. That is a mock-up of the Ambassador Bridge. Yet again, another callback to Detroit. So where this all goes, I don't know. Maybe it's just a fun thing that they put it sort of in Michigan and leaned into that office corporate furniture world along with Amway and the cultish there. We'll see how it goes and if Superior has anything to do with it along with Gordon Lightfoot. But in the next video, if you subscribe, I'm going to talk about the very significant relationship with all the file names that they are actually working on, including Cold Harbor, and how it relates to, guess what? A cult. That's right, Scientology. So like, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thank you very much. Hit the super donate if you like the video. Steelhead Station out.